Welcome back to the channel, everybody. So here we are off to correcting some of the problems that I've made doing my 6-speed swap. Today I'm actually going to be pulling the drive shaft out and I'm going to send that out to get it balanced. So I was talking about when I test drove the car last week that there was a vibration around 55, 60 miles an hour. So one thing I know is that it never did that before when I had the old transmission in it. So I know it's something new that I had recently done to the car. So when I was accelerating around 55, 60, I could feel it, and as I accelerated, it was getting worse. So when I put the clutch in, what happened was it kind of went away. So at that point, it makes me think that, okay, well, it's something trans-related because I'm separating the engine from the transmission at that point with the clutch being in, and the engine seems completely fine. There was no vibration there. So if there was vibration in the engine, we would look into that. But because these are new parts and it's new on the car, and now it's doing something it hasn't done, leads me to believe that it is the drive shaft. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is pull it, send it out, and hope to God it was off a lot and it corrects the problem. So I'm just gonna do that for now, and then once that's done, we can go into and see if there's anything else that I'm overlooking. This week's video is brought to you by SeatShafts.com, manufacturer of solid stainless steel seat motor drive shafts. Save money on costly seat repairs by replacing the weaker factory shaft with an upgraded, stronger one. Custom sizes available for all makes and models: BMW, Chevy, Dodge, GMC, Mazda, Mercedes, and many more. Visit the link in the description or go to SeatShafts.com. So the nice thing is that I just kind of unbolted my mufflers. I'm hanging the exhaust down here, and I'm able to actually unbolt it and slide it out without taking too much off. Alright, so I just got back with my drive shaft. It took about a week or so for them to balance it, but it has a giant weight on here, so I'm thinking that probably was the culprit, it being out of balance. So we're gonna get this back in here in a little bit. I ended up taking the time, since the car was down for roughly a week, to send my wheels and tires out to my buddy Steve to have him, A, put new valve stems in it because they were kind of dry rotted, and B, just to kind of balance them again. I put them on the car like over 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. So I just figured, you know, why I'm talking about vibrations, I might as well just send the wheels and tires out and just have them balanced, just to kind of like scratch that off the list. So if you are chasing a vibration on your car, I kind of came up with just a couple points to things to look for. So I mean, realistically, if you have a vibration and you can't figure it out, it's always good to have somebody who specializes in drivability to drive the car, because a lot of times if you're hunting down stuff on the internet, it's all over the place. So you really need someone who kind of knows what to actually look for. So I kind of broke things up a little bit. I start with wheels, like wheels and tires. So pretty much if you're driving a car and you're coasting and you have a little bit of vibration in the wheel, or maybe just a little bit of a noise, pretty much all speeds with no acceleration, just rolling, that's usually could be a tire noise. So you could always get them balanced. Even like a bad tire or something like that will cause a vibration. It will kind of also make a lot of noise too if you have a bad tire. So they're kind of things to look for as the car is pretty much rolling. So the next thing I would say, if your tires are good, say you got brand new tires on the car, you could always look at your hub bearings. If you have any play in there, same thing, vibration, noise. So they're just little things. I mean, there's a lot going on there and every car is different, but they're just a couple little points to look for if you have a kind of a slow noise or something like that when you're rolling. So if you have a vibration while you're braking, so you're going fast and you hit the brakes real hard and it sends a shudder through the car, and maybe your steering wheel starts rocking back and forth real aggressively, that vibration is in your rotors. So whenever the brake pads are putting pressure on the rotors, they are pulsing and shaking that whole car. So if you're looking for a vibration under braking, it's pretty much that. You'd have to replace your pads and rotors or have your rotors cut or whatever. So that's one thing to look for. If you get vibrations only when you're braking, that would be the culprit. Okay, so if you have a vibration while you're accelerating, higher speeds, even higher miles an hour, and when you're on the gas and it just keeps getting worse, it's probably in the driveline. drive shaft, center support bearing. If you have a 2-piece drive shaft, that's common, and that'll rattle the car under acceleration. So there are a couple things to look for, kind of like what I'm going through with my drive shaft. I'm almost 100% positive that's the issue. As I'm accelerating around 60 miles an hour, it just sends a shudder through the car. So look out for that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Drive shaft, U-joint even, or even center support bearing, something like that, which can really throw the vibration through the car as you're accelerating. So another driveline related vibration too would be in the half shafts. So if you lower one of these C4s or C3s too much, I had the same issue when I had coilovers on the car. The rear half shafts are no longer parallel where they're supposed to be. They're up on an angle like this because the tires are up so high, and because of that drastic angle, that thing will vibrate really bad and you'll feel it kind of underneath you as you're driving. So that's one thing too, if you go too low on a car. Pretty much even with any car that has CV axles that's super slammed and those axles are just up really high angle, you're going to get a vibration in the back of the car too. So that's mainly one thing to keep an eye on too. If you just slammed your car and now the thing rides like crap at like 50 miles an hour and it just vibrates you out of the car, there's something to look for too, because the geometry is just completely off. All right, so just a couple little tips to look out for. So I mean, if you get in a position where you're chasing a vibration, you can't figure it out, it doesn't hurt to ask somebody who has like years of experience doing drivability. They'll be able to pick that right back up. And also too, don't overlook the stupid thing of having too low air pressure in your tire too, because that'll also do it. So now I'm gonna get the drive shift in, get the wheels back on, and drive this thing and hope my vibrations are going. Okay, so that definitely resolved the issue. I was doing 60, 70 and pulling hard and it's no vibration at all. So I'm glad that worked out with the drive shaft. So it was just something simple. Probably should have had that done in the first place, but at the end of the day, it's all good, not a big thing. All right, so now that that vibration's gone with the drive shaft, the car runs awesome. I mean, that 6-speed really makes a difference in that thing. It feels like a completely different car. So I'm glad I can actually enjoy it now without it trying to shake me out of the car. So that is done. I can mark that off the list and ready to move on to something else. So if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. Thanks for watching.